Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you're joining from. Welcome to today's DevTalk. So in today's DevTalk, we will be covering Enterprise Browser. So we're going to be giving a technical overview as well as a deep dive into Enterprise Browser, what it is, why you might want to use it, where you may use it, and of course, how you actually use it. So we have a couple of presenters with us today. We have Debraj, one of our engineers from our EMC business unit. We have Richard Barrett, who is one of our product managers here. And we also have Sabir joining Debraj, who's also from our engineering department. So just before I hand over and get started, there's a few housekeeping rules that I wanted to cover off. Firstly, as always, these sessions are recorded and they will be posted onto our developer portal as well as our DevTalk YouTube playlist. That usually happens a day or so after these talks have finished. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the question box on the GoToWebinar sidebar. We'll get round to the questions towards the end. And if you think of any questions after the event that you didn't think of while we were live, please feel free to either email us at developer@zebra.com or navigate over to our developer portal where we have a forum board where you can post any questions and an expert will get back to you as soon as possible. Lastly, I also just wanted to touch on a few of our upcoming events that people may be interested in. We have creating OCR solutions using deep learning technologies with Zebra Aurora Vision. That's taking place on Wednesday, June 15th at the same time. This is a DevTalk introducing our new acquisition and merger, previously known as Adaptive Vision, now Zebra Aurora Vision. So one for the machine vision developers of our community. As an FYI, we'll also be at DroidCon Berlin between the 6th and 8th of July, and then over at DroidCon London on October 27th and 28th. So if you happen to be attending any of those events, please feel free to step by our booth and keep an eye out for our sponsored talk as well. So that's enough of the housekeeping rules. Let me hand over to Richard Barrett, who is going to walk us through some high-level product marketing, and then Debraj will take over with the meat of the presentation, where we get into the APIs and so forth. So over to you, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone, so welcome to our main tech talk. So today we're going to focus our attention, as you heard, on Enterprise Browser. Now, before we delve into the technical deep dive, from a product manager's perspective, I just wanted to use a couple of minutes to do a brief overview of this fantastic product and highlight some of its key features that our customer base can leverage in our operations, from verticals like the retail industry to warehouse management. So it is an industrial browser, and it allows organizations to be able to effectively create web-based apps. And that can take advantage of a large library of functionality on Zebra's mobile computers. Now, these applications operate in a secure and controlled environment, whereby its users only get access to the app itself and not allowed to surf other web pages. Right. Next, you can go. Right. Thank you. Now, it is locally installed on a device in the form of an APK. And this can be implemented on a mass scale via an MDM, right? Mobile Device Management Solution. Now, apps are created in HTML5. They're presented as a web-based application to the end user. And thanks to the built-in security and access to Zebra's mobile device API library of over 150 APIs that you get access to via JavaScript calls, applications created in Enterprise Browser can leverage the functionality like RFID, barcode scanning, printing, and the like. Now, this platform is more than just an industrial web browser, right? As an organization, looking for a software platform whereby they can easily create custom apps that are optimized to work on our Zebra mobile device ecosystem. The following things I have here kind of define what would embody the key value drivers that they can realize as organizations. So, starting at the top, we have a reduction in software development expenditure. Why not hire web development talent, which is more affordable than instead of having to invest in more costly native Android developers, right? You can develop custom apps for your organization quickly. Within this web-based app platform, you can make changes to your application's UI UX without having to touch the underlying code in runtime. There's that seamless integration of custom-built apps with Zebra's mobile device API library that I mentioned as well. And then you create purpose-built applications that operate in that secure environment, right? So if we can go forward one slide, I just have one more thing I want to talk about. And so we have multiple personas that can interface with the EB. So what I did, just look at a typical example, right? This is one in many. So starting in the left side, we see John here, who's a web developer. He creates a front-end warehouse management app in HTML5. Right? That resides within an enterprise browser, and that leverages the scanning engine on the Zebra mobile computer. So in this case, let's say it's the MC3300. All right, so that app can be used in a warehouse environment, scan packages, make API intent calls to a third-party warehouse management solution. So, for example, we could be talking about, SAP's ITS Mobile, right? Now, that app is used in the field for a while, and now Mary, the IT administrator, she's been asked by the warehouse supervisor to change the size of one of the buttons within the app. She implements this using our enterprise browser config tool, and that uses a technique called DOM injection, and that provides the capability, obviously, to make changes to applications without having to make changes to the main code, right, in runtime. And then finally, we have Ralph. He's the warehouse management app. He uses that app to carry out inbound and outbound warehouse activities efficiently via the app on a Zebra MC3300 mobile computer, while working inside the warehouse. Now, these are just some examples of how these personas leverage the power of enterprise browser. And just before I end, if we can go back to slide 3, there was one slide that we just skipped. I just wanted to just talk about something quickly here. This is right here, yeah. So, today, if we look at what's happened in the industry, right, the old school way is on-prem. And in time, what's happening now, there is this migration to the cloud, right? And thanks to the evolution of high-speed internet, which is secure, we couple that with our powerful mobile computer ecosystems. Organizations have realized that they can now run more efficient and streamlined operations through the use of mobile apps, right? And that gives employees the flexibility to be mobile and productive at the same time. Now, there are some challenges that organizations do face when it comes to creating and managing those mobile apps, right? Developer resources, for example, I talked about that you would have to invest in when it comes to developing Android apps. There's an investment that's needed there. And even when you want to manage that app through its life cycle, right, there's an investment required there as well. And then there's also that issue of security, and ensuring that employees don't surf the web into other websites, right? So that being said, this is where an industrial browser like enterprise browser comes into play. So at this point, that was my preamble from a product management perspective, right? Just to really showcase the fact that this is a very powerful platform. It's not just an industrial browser, there's a lot that we can do. But what I want to do now, I'll hand over to Debraj and Sabir, who are now going to go into the real nuts and bolts of it, and let's go into the technical deep dive.
Okay. So hi everybody, myself Debraj, and I will explain enterprise browser, what it does, and all the deep dive in all the features and all the functionalities for end users and also for developers. So I will first show what is enterprise browser. Richard has already given a slight overview of what exactly it is. So if you see, enterprise browser is a cross-platform industrial browser which provides rich JavaScript interface to Zebra evaluates. So in our Zebra devices, we have all these hardware features like scanning, RFID, printer, and such other stuff. These things you cannot access from Chrome browser. So we have specifically designed this industrial browser to use these hardware features, and the customer can access all these features using JavaScript. So in the center, you can see the browser web view, which does the rendering, and here outside you can see all the hardware features of Zebra devices that is supported in the industrial browser, and above that other thing is that you can also configure the browser, like you can delete the cache, you can delete the cookies, you can configure the keyboards and everything. And from the app perspective, you can do the hardware key mapping, page-based action, auto fit to device engines, device screens. These all things you can do using enterprise browser. So and in enterprise browser, we ensure that we do the tailor coding to support defined warehouse management solutions like SAP, Info, Manhattan Scale, and retail hardware business solutions. So if you go to this link and you will see the actually all the configurations which will be supporting in enterprise browser. Let me go to this link. Yeah, these are, if you go to this link, you can see all this. You can zoom in, you can set the kiosk mode, everything you can do using enterprise browser. So these are the enterprise browser APIs you are supporting. Okay, that is key capture. I'll go to the major one: barcode, key capture, smart kernel, skin orientation, sensor. All these things you can access by enterprise browser. Okay, so enterprise browser, it comes with two packages. One is the normal regular package, and one is particularly for SAP package. This is for customers who are using SAP. It may be SAP HANA, SAP ITS Mobile, SAP EWM, SAP Fiori, all these things. If the customer wants, they can go, they can use SAP bundle. Otherwise, they can use the normal regular bundle. So what is you can see this is the SAP UI 5. I think this is SAP Fiori, and this is like, yeah. So the difference is that in the regular package you have so in the SAP package, apart from the regular JS file, you have this custom custom JS file and custom key layout, which is very much useful for the SAP customers. We'll come to that. Yeah. Let me see. 1 minute. So suppose this is a SAP ITS page, and when you normally open it in the device, it generally comes, the rendering is not very good, and it comes very small, and you are unable to see anything. So using SAP, you can see this video. So there you can see it is all the elements are in the corner, and it doesn't give a very good user experience. This is in Chrome. Now, when we do the same thing in SAP bundle, let's see what happens. You can see as compared to that, you can see this particular, and you can see like how it was in Chrome. You can see like this. It was like this in Chrome, and in EV SAP bundle, it was like this. Okay, so this is how it is showing up in the entire screen as compared to in Chrome it was somewhat like this in the corner, but in SAP it is coming out to be like this. Yeah. So user don't have to do anything from their side. They just need to set a page in EV in SAP bundle, and they can automatically get the each user experience, which normally does not happen in Chrome. Okay, then we'll go to next. So what EV SAP bundle does? UI auto customization by viewport. So automatically you can see the UI skin is getting customized based on the device height and width. Then SAP button height is automatically happening. Then there are some devices like WT68800 for the screen size is very small, and you don't. So if you open up the keyboard, the SIP, that is the virtual keyboard, it will cover the entire screen. So to avoid that, we ensure in case if you use this SAP bundle, it will show transparent keyboard. That option is there. Then here it will the database scanning. Then so there are some SAP specific network errors are there which you can handle in this SAP bundle. Hardware keys remapping. Some of the devices comes with hardware keys, and you can use a particular key to quit, zoom in, and all these facilities. Suppose some of the you want to quit the SAP or you want to press the back button, you can map some of the hardware key to do the operation. orientation lock in portrait landscape mode. Okay, you want to lock the skin in portrait or landscape, you can do that. SAP system bar, that is the bottom navigation bar, you can hide it to make it a full screen and give a kiosk mode operation, kiosk mode like feel. And several web view configuration like cookies, cache, these operations you can do in SAP. This is the SAP customization use case. Okay. Next come barcode scanning. So users can either use the database, or they can use EB has its own barcode scanning API, which they can use. So this is a flowchart to understand which one they can use. Like if they are, this, so there is a particular configuration. If they want the database scanning, they can set it to 1. Else they can set to 0. In that case, EB barcode API they can use for scanning. So yeah, and then I'll go. Next is we want to disable the keyboard. Like this is a particular input text box. Why you want to do the entry by a scanning and not by keyboard? You want to scan and get the data. You don't need the keyboard. Now normally what happens if you put the focus on it, but because of Android behavior, the keyboard will pop up. But you don't want to show the keyboard because you want the data for scanning. So we have provided specific API like disable all IME. If you set it to 1, or even from the programmatically, you also can do the same thing, and you can disable the keyboard for this particular particular input area. Okay. When software keyboard is disabled by disable IME, user need to ensure that EKB is enabled on the device to have. So this disable all IME will work only for if the enterprise keyboard is enabled instead of Gboard. Okay. Next is kiosk mode. So in this kiosk mode is basically, I mean, enterprise browser will open and they cannot navigate anywhere. The navigation bar and this is the system bar all will be disappeared. So lockdown and full screen mode, you can hide the address bar, and in this kiosk mode you can show the battery signals, I mean battery indicator and Wi-Fi indicator. And apart from that, this system bar and navigation bar, it will get disabled. So it is so that is how kiosk mode works. This is a feature you can do it in enterprise browser. Next is DOM injection. Now DOM injection is a very wonderful feature we provide in enterprise browser. So suppose the customer has is already using his web application which is running on desktop, but while running in device, the rendering is not good, and they don't want to change the server code. So then what is the next option? Or they were using and their application in Windows device, and they decided to migrate to Android, and after that they are seeing this problem. The rendering is not looking good, or yeah. So or they are already running some web application on the device, and they want to add some Java device capability. In their application, they want to add scanning capabilities. But again, without changing their source code in the server. So they can all do it in DOM injection. They can also use DOM injection feature, like they have a mixed deployment of old and new devices. Now older device, they have where their server is based on the older device, and some things don't work in new device. So they want to do changes only in the new devices, but they want to run the same server in both old and new devices. So they can use DOM injection to change the application behavior on new devices. DOM injection provides a way for runtime modification of your application behavior by changing configuration files on the client device without touching your server code of an existing backend development or deployment. There are multiple ways to do DOM injection in the enterprise browser. One is there is a DOM injection utility is there. It is a PC tool using which without any coding you can simply use that. The other option is page space specific action. You are in a particular page, and on that particular page you can do some, suppose there will be multiple pages in your web application. A particular page you can based on the content you can do some specific operation. And the third is you use your DOM injection file and you add it to the EB configuration, it will work. So, but whoever will be doing that, they will be needing the JavaScript and CSS knowledge. Okay. Next is a DOM injection utility is a PC-based tool. So this PC-based tool, I will simply run it. So in this particular input, you want to add the keyboard, a particular keyboard, and then in this particular button you want to add the printer. So you click on it, the printer should come out. You can select the printer type and all these operations you can do. And after that, what will happen when you I'll open this in enterprise browser. So you did not change any of the backend code, and you can simply let it go. So this one I have added the keyboard, and here you have added a printer, and it will automatically click on the printer. One minute. So in this particular keyboard, I've enabled the scanner. So once you set it, you can scan the barcode. So this is very easy to use. There is no coding from the developer, and there is no change in the server code. Next is page action. Suppose you are in a particular page in the enterprise browser, in your SAP application, and in this particular SAP application, say whenever in this page you want to do some zoom operation, run some zoom operation, like you want to zoom the page by two times, or whenever there is a 400 session timeout, if you see then what you automatically want to direct to the start page. So using this page action identification, the XML, it comes in the enterprise browser. You can easily you can easily configure it, so that whenever in the web application you receive this type of timeout order, due to this XML, due to this configuration, it will automatically redirect to this particular URL. Or if the page has a content called password, it will automatically zoom the page by 2 times. So there are 4 types of page by redirect. So redirect means it will if I get this timeout, it will redirect to this particular login page again. Then it will redirect to home page. Then again back. It will go navigate to the back. And quit means, so quit action is quit means it will quit the enterprise browser. Okay, this is how you create the DOM injection files. This is in the EB configuration XML, you set the text file, and in the text file you give the JS file and CSS file, and you can mention which particular pages. If time means all the pages, this particular script will get inject. accordingly. So after DOM injection, what happens is that you do the you can change the CSS. You can see this is a normal page that will open in enterprise browser, but due to DOM injection, UI customization will happen and it will change it to like this for better user experience. So this is in the CSS file. This is the CSS file which we have injected. We change the font size, we change the height of the buttons, and then this is this particular after injection, this is how we are seeing it. So this is a useful tool for anybody who is using SAP, old SAP ITS mobile, SAP EWM, and they are using legacy WM devices and they want to migrate to Android. This is a very useful tool for them. Okay. Then comes hardware key. So some of the devices like have this MC33 or 93 will have a hardware key. So the customer will want to remap the hardware key to zoom in and zoom out. I mean, there's a particular page and pressing a hardware key of their choice, they want to zoom in the page or zoom out the page, or they want to press the hardware key to pressing on it to show the virtual keyboard or hide the virtual keyboard, or you are stuck in a SAP particular page, any page, may not be SAP, but any particular page you are stuck and you need to get out of this. So you can you need to get out of this. You can press a hardware key to redirect you to the login page, or you want a hardware key to quit the AV applications, or similar thing, you want to clear the cookies, or a voice input. All this is possible by enterprise browser. So this is a hardware key devices. Say P1, I want to this is the key value of this P1, and I want to use Chinese or some other languages input. So you can do that. This is 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. You can change your language to Chinese. You can press this, you can use this key operation and to refresh the current web application. You can quit enterprise browser. You can do clear the cookies or cache using this. You can configure accordingly. So you can see this particular thing is very useful for web developers. Hardware keys can be configured to take a number of predefined actions, as I mentioned, or execute JavaScript code block. No code change is required so whatever you did it, you are doing it from here. There is no code change is required from the server side. So key actions in 133, you can clear the cookies or quit. You can remap also. You can remap also a particular one key to another key, and then back, going to forward or refresh. You can easily do it. Next is multi-session. Just like we have tab in our browser. You can use multiple web app in separate tab, each with their own state. So this is a feature provided in tabbar.xml. You can see based on this multiple tabs, so you can open it. This is jabra.com. This is a SAP site, and based on it, it will show up in the top. And you can configure the images, icons of this, and also each particular what is the URL, you can set it for all tabs. You can this one tab to another. This is one tab. Basically, you can set another tab like this. So this is an example, like one tab you can show jabra.com and the right tab. So this is an example of how to set multiple tabs. So you can set for each tab, you have to set the URL, you have to set the name level, and also you have to set all the all other parameters. Yeah. This is an example. You can see. So in the config XML, you have to set the tab part XML. This is basically an idea. Could give an idea how to configure the tab part XML. Next is shortcut. So using this shortcut, you can create a multiple shortcut in enterprise browser, and each shortcut will now launch its own web application. Like one shortcut. These are all shortcuts of enterprise browser, and each of them shortcut you click, it will open its own web application. Like this one, the first one shortcut ID, if you open, it will open jabra.com. The second one, if you click, it will open this particular site. Like this, you can open BBC, CNN, or your own application. So using it, you can open the multiple. I mean, you can create a multiple app, which will but at one time you can use only one of the app. So you can have a multiple app experience of enterprise browser. This is, yeah. So you can see, you open this first one. This tool comes to the enterprise browser, where you can set the URL. So open the first one, it is opening one site. So this is opening a separate site. Okay. Next is Java. So in Android, we have the intent. You have something you have called intent, and you have a JavaScript intent API. This is one more feature in enterprise browser, and you can use intent API for Android keyboard. So and you can control the keyboard from enterprise browser. So you can enable, disable the keyboard. So when you want to disable the keyboard when the focus is there, you can use this intent API, and then you can so you can change the keyboard layout or set a keyboard layout, and these all operations you can do. So get all the keyboard layout that is present in the device. So QWERTY layout, if you set, then you can see the QWERTY layout. This is enterprise browser. This is basically running on enterprise browser. Okay. Now if you set a numeric layout, yeah, you set the layout. Now again you click, you can see you are getting the numeric layout. So this thing you can set via a JavaScript intent API. So you can, okay, this is how you'll be doing this. You can set the layout based on the current layout, and you can. So basically, this is the coding part, and you have to call the intent API to send up which layout you want to select. Okay. Then we have one more tool in this is you can design your own keyboard, enterprise keyboard, custom. You can design your custom keyboard based on suppose I am in a SAP page. This is a particular SAP page, and in this SAP page, I need only this particular keyboard, F1 to F12. I don't need numeric. I don't need I don't need QWERTY or anything. And so this particular keyboard will not be available in the market. So we have a exclusive designer tool using which you can design your own keyboard. It's very easy to do that. So I will show it in the next. Yeah. Yeah. So this particular design tutorial usually is very helpful for SAP party, for those customers who are using SAP and who needs some specific buttons, not all the buttons. These are all Jabra devices. For landscape and for portrait, you can key. Yeah. This is up to. So if you observe in this particular thing, I need only 1 to 6, F2, F3, so F4. So based on that, I am creating the keyboard. So this is a device after deploying it. Yeah. Last is voice API. One is automatic speech recognition, that is for you input and text to speech. So whatever it is there in the mention, it will automatically speak out, and also by ASR, whatever you speak, it will get typed. So this is this is something available in EB. And voice directed picking solution and support. So both ASI and TTS, this helps to enable the application. And voice partners can implement EB voice plugin with the engine, can access to EB through JavaScript API. Okay. And then we'll be able to run on the same app or on other browsers as per W3C standard. Okay, and last is RFID, the last one. It is radio frequency identification. So using enterprise browser, you have some specified devices, RFID devices. There you can run the enterprise browser, and from web using JavaScript and HTML, you can do the RFID operations like read the tag, read the RFID tag, write the RFID tag, stop these all operations you can do. That's all from my side.
Thanks, Debaraj. Much appreciated. Thanks for a great presentation. We do have quite a few questions come through, so I'll just go through these and hopefully we can answer them as a team. So the first question we have is, does Enterprise Browser have an SQLite API?
We have it. Yeah, we have it. SQLite API.
EB support actually SQLite API. We have a APIs already. In the tech talks, it's listed actually.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just a point of reference, maybe to.
If you go to this link, actually, you can see we have this database. All these APIs will be supporting. You can get it from here in this link. Yeah.
It is one point to add there. So it is a responsibility of the developer to ensure that no SQL injection will be happening to the table actually.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is just a bit of feedback, maybe to update the slides, but the Tech Talks links apparently pointed to an old version of Enterprise Browser, so we should replace the version with the latest. Next question here is HTTP file response from SAP supported. I have encountered issues with this on enterprise browsers, yet other browsers make this work fine.
It will work. EB supports both HTTP and HTTPS websites.
Okay. Hopefully that answers the question. If not, could you please clarify the question, and I'll get back to it towards the end. Thanks. Okay, so Simeone is asking, can we have access to the SAP instance you have just presented? Or if it was hosted in your machine, can you provide us with the web app? He's asking this as customers sometimes want to have a live demo from us and not just a PowerPoint.
During the demo, Deborah just played some video, but yeah, of course, I remember that somebody shared us the access. We do have the access for validation purpose to some ITS, SAP ITS mobile. So maybe we can share the contact details to whom you can contact and get access.
Andrew's asking, hello, will this presentation be available for download later? Yes, it will be. It will be available on our YouTube DevTalk playlist as well as our developer portal. So another question from Simeone here. Why can't we have Enterprise Browser available for non-Zebra devices as well? I know there are some device-specific features which won't be available, but at least we would have the DOM injection part.
Great question. And to be honest, that's something that we're actually looking at right now. Because we've had even just because of the whole device shortage, or not device shortage, the whole thing what's happening right now in the world. There are questions coming up from customers about that, so that's something that we're looking at right now. Stay tuned for an update maybe later on where we're going on that in our roadmap.
Okay, thanks, Richard. That's good to hear. That'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, cheers.
So how do we get the hardware key value? Is there a document that defines them?
Hardware key values, you can get it from the Android. And in the Android site only you can get it. Developer.android.com. They mention all the values for all the keys.
Okay, I think I understand this question. Also, Gopal was asking, can we explore some points on this SAP style file and also explore how to edit text box size, like how to increase box size and how to change background color screen?
This is all possible actually.
No, so the question here is actually you wanted to edit the user experience of the SAP page, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so EB supports some configuration attributes to control the mobile button height. Apart from that, EB also allows users to allows a configuration attribute called SAP CSS. So here you can have the you can edit the CSS values actually based on the need and mass deploy it later.
Okay, perfect. How can I define a separate action after each scan on a single web page, like data, enter, and data tab on the same page?
I'm not sure actually. We need to check.
Okay.
Maybe you can we can write to us actually.
Yeah, Aaron, if you could email me at developer@zebra.com, I'll get that question passed over to our engineers to take a look at. So a question here from Edwin. Does it allow for databases larger than 5 megabytes, which is Chrome's Web SQL limit?
There are two settings, right? One is actually the WebView cache, what you're referring here, and there is something called EB its own SQLite database. So if you are using the WebView cache, that yes, there is a limit 5 MB because that is restricted by the Android itself, Android WebView. If you are using the EB SQLite, it's a normal SQLite files within the sandbox, so it can grow as per the database. There is no limit on that.
Okay.
So EB is using the Chrome inside the Chrome WebView. So whatever that Android WebView restrictions will be applicable for EB also.
Okay, thank you. So if I have screens that can take advantage of a customer keyboard and screens that are better served with the default keyboard, can one switch back and forth easily? What they're asking is, can they switch between a custom enterprise keyboard and a default keyboard when
Yes.
they move through different screens?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So EB is having two configuration attribute. So so there is one configuration attribute would say when EB comes to the background, which keyboard to be used. You can configure that, and when it hide, which keyboard should be used when it goes to the background. So foreground and background you can configure actually, switch the keyboards.
perfect. So Aaron's asking, as far as he knows, shortcuts are not working if firmware is above Oreo. What is the resolution to creating shortcuts in Android 11 or Android 13?
No, the question is they are claiming shortcuts are not working after Android Oreo.
Yeah, we have updated our document right after the Android Oreo how to use the shortcuts, right? It's available in our tech doc.
Okay.
From yeah, it's there after Oreo. Maybe is there any specific user experience problem? Please write to us actually.
Okay, Aaron again then. Email us please at developer@zebra.com if you're having a specific issue with adding shortcuts there. But I think the answer is that they should be supported. Okay, so how can I place a permanent button on all the pages of SAP and execute function 3, for example?
So EB supports native buttons. So that is one approach you can use. So you can create a button. There's a button XML you can create. You can refer the and you can associate some JavaScripts also to that. So that native button will be always on top of the web application. That is one option. And second option is you can use some DOM injection approach to keep some element always on top. Maybe after every page navigation, right? You create that. Means DOM injection might create that some view or which will do the functionality.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's all.
Okay, next question. Did we cover the scope storage concerns as it relates to enterprise browser? Is there anything specific to be concerned about?
No, yeah, there could be actually with the Play Store compliance, the enterprise browser has been migrated into the target SDK 30. So with that, the scope storage coming into the place. So so for mass deployment, there will be definitely an impact. So EB will not, enterprise browser will not be able to read from the SD card locations. So earlier the mass deployment folder was SD card. Now with new enterprise browser 3.5, there is a new path mentioned. The enterprise folder is there. There the user has to keep all the configuration file. So EB on launch, it will read the configuration file from the new enterprise partition path. Having said that, we are also introducing one more approach that is more secured way. Maybe it might be in place from next August LG onwards, but yeah, we'll update on that. So otherwise, with new release, if anybody is using the enterprise browser 3.5, you should ensure that all the configuration files are placed in the enterprise partition in the predefined location.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. To that point, we did have a dev talk on the scope storage restrictions and secure storage manager last month. So please feel free to take a look at that. I think enterprise browser was referenced. So using DOM injection, can we increase the text size?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay, that was easy. Thank you. Will there be a version of enterprise browser for the WS50, so the new wearable?
We are actually looking at the feasibility of implementing that as we speak. So I think we might have a decision later in the year on what we're doing there.
Okay, thank you. Andrew's asking, can I share the YouTube channel name? Yep, it's Zebra Technologies. I'll put that into the text box in just a moment when I have a second here. Is it possible to include a error sound if a wrong item is scanned?
Yeah,
Error
it is.
it is there.
Yeah, so Paulo Silva is asking to see the recording and the presentation. So again, that will be available on YouTube and the developer portal. Hermant is asking if we can share some examples of how you increase the text box size inside Enterprise Browser. Do we have any examples of that in our documentation site?
No, particularly to the text box size, no, I don't think so. But we can share if you can send a mail to us, we can share them.
Okay.
Again, the logic might differ the customer applications to application.
Okay. So in the case of RFID, when I read a tag, the value we get into the text box naturally in a web application. I think the question here is if they're using RFID to read tags, can they get the value of that tag into a text box in the web application?
So if it is reading multiple tag, then the question is which particular tag they will set the value in the text box. So this, I mean, this issue is that it is possible, but in the logically you can do that. That is in the particular you get the value and you paste it in the HTML. That is not an issue. But which particular, if it is reading multiple tag, then which tag you want to place?
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I think the answer there is that it's technically possible, but you may have to think of some additional logic in order to filter tags and things like that. So what is the underlying code base for Enterprise Browser? If Google makes an intent change, will it affect Enterprise Browser?
Yeah, if it could be, right. So there are some APIs related to the Android target SDK. There are and also the web view behavior may change over the Chrome upgrade.
So during the presentation of the printer feature, you entered into the actual SAP transaction rather than a menu. I noticed the fields did not fit onto the screen properly. This is something I experience frequently and have not solved. Is there an out-of-the-box solution for SAP EWM with standard implementation?
Are you talking about, so the question here is related to the SAP HANA? Can you confirm? If yes, is that the question?
I'm not sure. Mark will have to elaborate. Mark, if you can email us at developer@zebra.com with the full question, I'll get that handed over to the devs. Just need to make it through the last couple of questions here before we close. So are we thinking to have the enterprise browser pre-licensed in more devices like we do in the MC33AX? I think this is one for you, Richard.
Yeah, I've had that request as well. I think, so yes, we're definitely thinking of doing that. What we're doing right now is just looking at the user experience from a licensing perspective when, for the ones that we have already pre-licensed, because you have to be very careful to make sure that experience is good. But that is something we're looking at as far as other devices are concerned. One of the things we're doing though is before we do look to possibly go that route, we will, get a better understanding from, which market segments or which types of customers request this type of licensing model. So stay tuned for that as well.
Okay, thanks, Richard. And we're at the top of the hour here, so just a quick last question. Is it possible to have access to the SharePoint folder with some examples and projects of enterprise browser implementations? For example, special CSS, custom keyboards, and other customizations that were useful in some projects so we can use it.
There is already a featured demo, enterprise browser featured demo, which will show up all the specific features. Is that what customer is looking?
I'm not too sure. Again, Levi, if you can send an email to developer@zebra.com, we'll take a closer look at that for you. In the meantime, I'd recommend checking out Tech Docs and our developer portal and to see if there's anything in there that suits your needs. Okay, so that's
so there are some, just to add, there are some sample application already available in the Tech Docs and also usage guides also available in the Tech Talk link.
So already, if you see, if in the tech docs, we have this sample app like barcode API. Say this is, or not pretty, sorry. So I mean, user can go to this link and they can see all the samples which are available, and they can run it on enterprise browser. Printer app is also there, and key capture app is also there.
So we're a couple of minutes over there, so I think we're going to bring things to a close. As I mentioned, the recording will be available on YouTube and our developer portal. The YouTube channel is Zebra Technologies. If you have any additional questions, please email us at developer@zebra.com. Thanks very much for your time and attendance. Thanks very much to our presenters, Debraj, Richard, and Sabir. And thank you all very much again. And we'll see you at our next DevTalk, hopefully next month. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.